Alright, welcome to the Scrolly No Code Game Jam. My name's Dean, I'm the CTO of Scrolly. In this video I'm going to show you step by step how to go from no coding experience to a playable game that could go inside the Scrolly feed. We're going to use the Solana scaffold, which is a Next.js starter, so you don't have any scary setup. Then we're going to use AI and your imagination to make an absolutely amazing game to go onto the feed. And by the end of it, you'll have a local web running project with a simple game inside, so you can use your imagination to keep going with AI and tweak it until it gets to what you consider submission ready into the game jam. So with no delay, let's get started. Right, so let's get to it. So we've got one thing which you'll need, which is the Notion link. Once you open it, that'll be this site, which you can see is Scrolly Hackathon, sponsored by Super Team UK. So shout out for Super Team UK for sponsoring the prize money on this. I'm really grateful. So what we've got is the Scrolly Hackathon, and then it is just a basic instruction, step by step, on what to do. Rather than just give you the document, I'm going to run through the document now, live, and I've got everything set up as if it was a basic answer. For example, ChatGPT is not logged in, it's not got anything. I have my local host running, I have my terminal up. I'll show you how to get them all up as we do it. But let's just run through the document and get cracking. I know you're probably all eager to start. So I will make this as simple as possible. I will read through word by word so that there's no confusion when it comes to anybody carrying it out. Everyone's got different skill levels. We're really trying to encourage people that don't use computers or haven't used much IT to get involved. So this is, unfortunately, might be a little bit suck an egg for some of you, but just bear in mind, obviously, some people have lesser experience. So we've got to start with the Scrolly No Code Game Jam. So we're going to build a playable game using AI. So like I said, you don't need any coding experience. And the guide is written for a complete beginners. Keep reiterating that. But it's okay if you don't understand as well. There's a lot of terminology and tech that is specific to crypto or specific to T in general. So if you've got any questions, hop into the Discord, which is on the Scrolly Feed Twitter account if you go into the bio, and then join. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. You can tag me in it or tag anyone on the team in there, and we'll be able to give you some help and advice. We'll all be on hand over the next 4 weeks to make sure that anyone that has any issues gets the technical help that they need. Whatever, no matter how simple, how difficult, just put the question in the chat. I'm sure if one person's got the same one problem, I'm sure there'll be 10, 15 people that have got that same problem, so don't be scared to ask. So what you need to get started then is a laptop or a desktop computer, an internet connection. Sounds pretty simple. If you don't have internet, head over to somewhere that's got Wi-Fi, whether it's a cafe or co-working space. And then you're going to need a web browser. I prefer Chrome for those who are using Windows. Safari's okay on Apple, so it's up to you which one you want to use. And then you probably need maybe an hour or two of focused time just to dedicate to actually getting into it and getting the game built. Doesn't mean you have to do it all in one go. Obviously, the benefit of this video and the document is you can come and go as much as you please. You can do the initial setup and make sure that you're all set up, ready to build the game, and then you can come back the next day and build it. And then you can do your tweaks the day after. You can do whatever, up to you. But the main important thing is you do not need to know how to code. That's it. This is the premise of this game jam, is that it's just, I guess, to extract as much game design techniques and talent that we can find rather than the coding element of it. We want to see how your brains work. We want to see what your design style are like, to try and really innovate some games onto the Scrolly feed that are stuff that we wouldn't think of. So you're going to install Visual Studio Code, which is a code editor. There are many other code editors out there, so for those more experienced that have their own code editor, just continue to use the one that you normally do. But for those who don't, you can go into the browser, so just copy and paste that code, click the download button, and when the file finishes downloading, just open it and go through the installer. Just click accept whenever it asks you, and then click on install, wait for it to finish. Once it's done, you can just open the Visual Studio Code. It'll open and it won't look like this because there's a project in it. So this on this side will be empty, and then this again, there'll be no tabs, so it will look like this. So what happens is you will then, where are we at? You're going to install Node.js. So this is how the app actually runs. So you're going to open your browser, you're going to go to nodejs.org, you're going to click the big green button that says LTS recommended, and when the file's finished downloading, open it, go through to the installer, click next, accept the license, click install, just go through the steps. And if you want to check that it works, so on the start menu, this is for Windows, open command prompt, and then on Mac, open terminal. And then once you've done it, type node v. So I'll do that for you now. So node-v, which the V means version. So you'll check the version of Node. So I've got version 22.13.1, which is fine. And then as long as you don't get an error, you're good. And then you're going to download the Solana dApp scaffold template. So we're going to use the official Solana dApp scaffold as the base from the Solana Labs repo. It's a pretty simple one to use, really easy. It's a good framework. So on that page, you're going to find the green code button. So again, let's go to the code button, big green one, and then we're going to click download zip. And once you've clicked that, you can save it as whatever you want. Once you've gone into your downloads, you will have to rename it again. So rename the folder Scrolly-Game Jam. And then once you've done that, what are we on to next? So we need to open the project in VS Code. So we're going to open the Visual Studio Code file, open folder, and browse for the template that we just had, which is Scrolly-Game Jam. So here we're going to go file, open folder, Scrolly.Game Jam. I'm going to open it. It'll say, do you trust the authors? Yes, it's made by Solana Labs. I'm sure you can trust those guys and girls. And then what we want to do then is just make this a little bit smaller for now, and then we'll just go through the rest of the document. So we're going to install the project dependencies. So on the terminal, so if you're opening this in Windows, this is the one we spoke about, you'll open the command prompt, but then if you're on Mac, open terminal. So you can go to the search bar and just type in command prompt if you're on Windows, or terminal if you're on Mac. What I want to do is I need to change into the directory where it's stored. So CD is to change the directory. So CD, and it's in downloads because that's where we downloaded it. So you put CD downloads, and then you'll see that you've gone into the downloads folder. Once you've gone into the downloads folder, then you want to go into the Scrolly-Game Jam folder, which you've just renamed. So you're going to put CD, and then you're going to type Scrolly-Game Jam. Just make sure it's spelled correct, there's no spaces, and then that'll go into the directory. And then you follow on with the rest of the instructions. So it says, make sure it says something like your app computer, Scrolly-Game Jam, which it does. And then you're going to type in npm install. This is going to install all the dependencies required to run the Next.js framework. So whilst that loads, then what we're going to do is we're going to go and open the local host. So I'm going to leave it there. Even though the site's not loaded, that's fine because we've not actually run anything yet. So we're now going to do starting the Scrolly app. So you can see there on the right hand side, it's added 1,361 packages and audited 1,362 packages. And there is some vulnerabilities in the code, nothing to worry about for this purpose. If you want to test, I don't know, explore a little bit, you can npm audit fix. So what we're going to do is npm run dev, and then go to your local host, click reload, and you'll see lots of lines start to generate in the terminal. But then when you go onto the local host tab, you'll see it says Solana scaffold, and then this is the framework then for a Solana dApp. This one isn't kept up to date anymore, so there is newer ones. So for example, another good one that you can use is the Solana Mobile dApp framework, which is a React Native one, which is a newer one. So for anyone who's looking to create Solana dApps, head over to the Solana Mobile site, and then you can find their React Native dApp framework on there as well, which is pretty good. But for the purpose of this, we're just going to use this one. So what you're going to do now is look at the rest of the instructions. So find the game file. So what we're going to do is we're going to put your game inside the home view of the app. So in Visual Studio Code, I'm going to get that back up. We're going to look at the left sidebar, and then I'm going to open the folders in this order. So we've got specifically looking for SRC, and then we've got views, and then we're looking for home. So there's home, and then inside of home is index. Don't click that index because that index belongs to views. See what I mean? So make sure you click on home and then index. So the rest of it now then is the file contains what appears on the home screen. Your version of the game jam will look similar to this. This is the structure you or the organizer will provide. So yes, this is what you'll be providing to us when you submit it. So we're going to do now to find the game file. So we're going to source, views, home, and then index. So we've got the file up here. You can see this is like the default, and that's what makes it look like this in the middle. Apologies, one thing I have done, let me run through it. So when you open localhost, I just want you to right click anywhere on the screen and click inspect. Once you've done that, in the top corner here, there'll be a little button that says toggle device toolbar. And then what you want to do is, when you don't need to do it now because it's already done it, but you toggle through that. That's a normal window for a desktop, so when you make it bigger and smaller, it'll scale to the screen size. When you hit it again, that's mobile, and then you can configure the actual mobile template. So I've got it set to iPhone 14 Pro Max, but you can set it to wherever you want, depending on what phone you use. But it'll always stay in mobile size. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your testing, because obviously you want it to fit on mobile. Right, so cool. So we've got the index file shown on the screen, so you know what the actual code looks like on the screen before we edit it. So now what we want to do is come up to step 8, aren't we? So we found the game file. So this part of the code now, what you're going to do is just going to click the copy button, Windows, Shift A. If you're on Mac, Command A. And then once you've got it all, just then click paste, so that you have the 63 lines of code that are in step 8. So just those lines of code. Once you've copied it, paste it into here, click save on that file. So again, Command S or Shift S. And then when you go onto it, you'll see that you have this canvas now, which is ready to put your game into. So next step, so this is what you're allowed to edit. So I've tried to make this as clear as possible. So on the code on the screen in the editor, it says this is the only part of the code you edit for the jam. Replace this entire game sandbox component with whatever AI generates. So whatever it pumps out, you paste this section here. So just select it and then paste it. You could even delete it now if you want, but it would cause errors on the screen. So just keep it for now. But one thing we are going to do, just to make it a little more compatible whilst we're on here, so open your scaffold, and then you're going to go to pages, and then we're going to go to _app.tsx. And just so you can see at the top of the screen, we do have a header and a footer which has come in from the main site. So I'm just going to go on app bar, and then easiest way to do it that I can explain to non-coders is just press 2 forward slashes and the whole line will go green. And then again on footer, 2 forward slashes, whole line will go green. You'll notice there'll be 2 parts of the code that will get red lines underneath them. What you do is again, just hold them and then either press shift and forward slash or command and forward slash, depending on whether you're on Mac or on Android. So then they'll go green, and then there'll be no errors, no red lines, anything. So just save that file. And what it'll do is it'll remove the header and the footer, so it's just one screen, so that's ready to go. So you can go ahead and close that one now and then just carry on following the documentation. So step 9, important, we've gone over what you can edit in the game sandbox component, which is at the bottom of the script, which is lines 55 to 61. So you can place everything inside of that, just don't change home view, don't change any of the imports at the top. I've specifically put a title there to say not to. I've put some comments in there so people can understand what the structure of the page looks like, compared to the code, compared to what people will actually see on the website. So for those who are curious and want to learn a little bit more, read the green comments. And then if you think of just this bit as your player, you can do what you want with this, as long as you keep this line, constant sandbox, and then the FC, which is the type. So what you're going to do now is you're going to ask ChatGPT to build your game. So I've gave you a bit of a template here, which will allow you to get best results using any AI model, whatever one is your favorite one. So we will use, I'm sure I had ChatGPT open, but we did. So I'm going to open ChatGPT. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this straight in, and it explains that I'm entering a Scrolly, or the Scrolly, no-code game jam. I'm using Solana dApp scaffold, which is made up of Next.js and TypeScript files, and the home screen imports and uses game sandbox. Game sandbox, the reason why it specifically says that is because that's the component at the bottom that we're going to change, so it knows that it's only going to give you that bit of code. And then it obviously gives an example of what it looks like. And then I need you to replace only the game sandbox components with a fully working minigame using React and Tailwind CSS. Rules: you need to keep the function name and type exactly, constant sandbox, and then the type being FC. Do not add any new imports, do not change the home view or anything else, do not use all the things that it can't do before it breaks it. Output: return only the full game sandbox component and nothing else after. So then you want to replace the game sandbox component with whatever comes back from AI. So let's put this in and see what it comes up with. So copy, send over ChatGPT. Thing is, you might have to do a few iterations of this. They'll obviously depend on how it comes back and what it comes back with. It will bring you a random game, keep that in mind. So you might want something specific so you can expand on what you're asking for. So when it says rules, you can put in the game idea, you can put in a game design, you can put a full game design document if you want. Just bear in mind in TypeScript you're limited unless you start expanding out with certain styling with Tailwind or CSS. It'll be pretty limited to just use emojis and simple mechanics. But if you want to take it deeper, just ask it, really experiment. You've got a full month. So here we are. So we've got some codes. Let's see what it runs like. So there's a scaffold. So what we want to do is we're going to replace this whole bottom component inside the file. So I'm just going to paste that in. We have got, it says a red 1 next to it, so there is a fault in there somewhere. So let's just scroll up. Let's just see what it is. Where has it gone? So the use effect. So you hover over it, quick fix, and then update the input from React, and then that's it. Resave, and it comes on. I already know what I'm supposed to do here. What? So that's not come out great. What was it saying we were going to do? So let's just say, try again with a different game design. What about a match game for children using emojis as characters? Clean CSS and Tailwind styling. So let's see what it comes up with this one. So there you go. You see it's importing the emojis. That's good. And it's just in the return now. So again, copy and then delete what you've just imported. So the whole thing. You will probably have to do this a few times, guys, to obviously get the game that you desire. It's not going to work first time every time, unfortunately. See, so, it's just like the memory matcher one that's already on here. So this is a good example. So we've got a set of cards there. It's got a score. It's got an apple and a banana, cherry and a strawberry, grape and an apple. So where's the apple? There we go. Oh, so we've got 10 points. Pineapple, we have not had a pineapple yet. Watermelon, not had that. Strawberry, there's the 2 strawberries. Cherry, there's the cherry. Orange, oh, lucky guess. But you see what I mean? This is just showcasing you what you can do. And then if you want to add more, you could even say, suggest improvements that we can implement. I always speak politely to ChatGPT for when the robot uprising coming. Let's see what it's saying for now. So we've pasted the prompt in, replaced the component, we tried it, and then see your game running if there's an error. So we do have a basic fault finding here. So if you do get any red errors or anything that won't work, or when you try and save it and then go to the tab where your game's hosted and there is errors on the screen, I want you to use this as a template. So you're going to explain to whatever AI model you're doing that you tried to use game sandbox component and it gave inside the Solana dApp scaffold and it got this error. So you're going to paste whatever the error code is over that, and then you're going to say, here's my full current game sandbox component, and then paste the game sandbox code here. If you want to paste just the bottom bit that we're editing, you can just do that. So you can just paste that section, or if you want, you can just paste the whole file and put it in there. That's fine, that will work as well. And then just make sure it says please fix it so it works with Next.js and TypeScript, React and Tailwind only, no new imports, no changes to any other file, and return only the corrected constant game sandbox component at the bottom, because then you can just change out what's broken. And then 14 game ideas you can ask ChatGPT for. So there's some ideas there: the fruit finder, reaction tapper, lane dodger, memory match. One thing I will say, guys and girls, when you're coming up with some game ideas, keep it original, keep it unique to you. Make games that you like. Don't just use these ones, because obviously everybody that's going to be trialing out this is going to be making those 4 games. Just use this as a tester to get the feel for how you use AI to make games and how you can make it better, and then start to experiment with games that you would want to make. Because don't forget, to get the cash prize, it needs to be unique. If we have 5 side swipers, if we have 5 endless runners that are all pretty much the same, it's going to be harder to win. It'd be better if the game's unique, it stands out, it has a certain edge to it, and the design is good. What we're looking for on this is more how smooth the game mechanics are and how well it's been designed in terms of the styling, how it looks, how it feels. So that's what you need to concentrate on. Not so much how in-depth the game is. What you need to understand is about Scrolly, and about the attention span that we're aiming for with Scrolly is maybe about 30 seconds of gameplay. That's about it. So you don't need to keep the user hooked with a really deep narrative in the game. Just keep it really hyper casual, super fun, and just experiment and have fun with it. And then when you want to polish it, these are some of the commands that you can give to ChatGPT. Don't be afraid to ask AI to give you the prompt to then paste into AI. One thing is really good to do is, for example, get one AI, Grok maybe, and then get ChatGPT, get one to make the prompt for the other. And then once you've done it, run the results past the other one. When it comes to submitting your game, you're going to play it, make sure you're happy with it, do a screen recording, post a video on Twitter, and then tag us in there. And then you're going to put the game's name, one line of description, and the game jam, and then just tag in this DD Gaming Labs, not DD Gaming underscore, so I'll change that. But lastly, if you get stuck, reread the steps. If you only edited the game sandbox, you shouldn't get too many errors. Make sure your developer server is running so that you can actually see it on the local host. And then any errors you get, just drop them into ChatGPT, see what it comes back with. If you are falling with some persistent errors, just jump into the Discord, which, like I said, is on the Scrolly feed, at Scrolly feed on Twitter. Go into the bio, click on the Discord, join, and then just ask for some help. Just say you're having issues with the current build that you've got for the game jam. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people coming in and asking about stuff. The team will be on hand to help. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Just if you run into any issues, re-go through the steps before you contact us. Just obviously we're going to be busy going through everything, but we are more than happy to help. Just read through the instructions. If you still don't get it, reach out to us, we can help you. And then looking forward to seeing what playable games get onto the feed. So yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. Take care and good luck.